Welcome to Junkies C.A.R.E, a special edition of the Dysfunction Junkies podcast, where we celebrate great people and great organizations doing great things. Now, here's your hosts, Chrissy and Carrie.
Hey, Junkies, I'm Carrie.
Chrissy.
I am so excited. I couldn't wait for May to come to talk about this fabulous organization for Junkies C.A.R.E. May is Lupus Awareness Month. And as we've talked about in previous episode, I also have lupus. So this is near and dear to my heart. Chrissy, what all do you know about lupus?
No, it's an autoimmune disease.
Good.
And it's not great at all, like most diseases are not, because it kind of, I believe my understanding is the way the disease works, it kind of, your body sort of attacks your organs and things like that.
It can, absolutely. So lupus is a very misunderstood and unpredictable autoimmune disease. So you got that right. Good job. It is very difficult to diagnose. It can be a challenge to live with. And the symptoms are so diverse. And what lupus looks for one person is going to be different for another. And it really is a very complex autoimmune disease. It causes a lot of inflammation in many parts of your body, and it can cause a lot of organ damage. So, interesting though is what percentage of women do you think, or how do I word this? So lupus can men or women, but of the people with lupus, what percentage of it do you think are women?
If you're saying everybody who's been diagnosed with lupus,
Yes.
Men and women,
Yes.
what the percentage for women who have been diagnosed versus men? 80% are women.
You're very close. You're very close. I think it's actually 90%. So yes, it's definitely one that is women more than men, but men can get it too. And it's very hard to diagnose because, the symptoms can mimic so many things. My lupus journey started, honestly, back in my early 20s. And one of the first things that I noticed was I would get, it's called Raynaud's syndrome. So literally, it would look like half of my hand was dead. Like there'd be a line across my hand and my fingertips would be dead white, just dead white. And then the rest of my hand would be normal. And I couldn't explain it. So I went to the doctors. At that time, I was working scuba diving in very cold water as part of my job. And they were just like, oh, it's just because you're in 40-degree water every day. That's why your blood is just shunting from your hands and whatever. So it was dismissed. This one little symptom was dismissed. And then, years later, it was like something else. And then it was just this. Oh, you're just tired because maybe you had mono or whatever. And just years of this constantly, but never quite feeling right. And it wasn't until, thank God, the wonderful doctors at Cleveland Clinic started really listening to me, putting all the symptoms together, doing some tests. Now, there's no specific test for lupus, but there are tests that they can do to kind of help narrow down this to okay, you probably have lupus. And through all of that, they did give me the diagnosis and put me on medicine. And honestly, my lupus journey has been so much better over the past few years when I finally got diagnosed and proper treatment. But it's horrible. I mean, you can go, it's average 6 to 8 years people take before they get a diagnosis. And they get from doctor to doctor to doctor and, it's just this or, it's just that. So it really is a difficult disease to live with. But if you find the right doctors and you find the right care team that listens to you and understanding your treatments and mitigating it, it really helps. So if you want to learn more about lupus, then you definitely need to go to the Lupus of America. That is our initiative this month, our organization that we're featuring. Their website is lupus.org. And I was on their website today. It was amazing. They had these quizzes that you can take to learn more about lupus. And one of the questions was that question about how many men versus women and how many years does it take to get diagnosed. And it was just very informative. So if you want to learn more about lupus, or if you maybe have a loved one or a family member that has lupus, I definitely encourage you to go to the website. So but different.
Type of treatment
Yeah.
is generally helpful for people who have been diagnosed with lupus.
Yeah.
I'm sure that probably varies because you said the disease varies from person to person. So,
Right.
so
And
what are some of the treatments?
So there's different medications depending on what type. There are different types of lupus. So depending on what type of lupus and what part of your body gets affected by it will depend on the medication. But a lot of it is also learning what triggers your lupus. And this is the crazy thing. Sunlight, UV exposure to UV light is one of the biggest triggers for a lupus flare. And for me, that can be devastating because I love to be outside. I love to be in the sun. I love to be at the beach, but the sun is like my worst enemy. So part of this.
How have you been able to combat that?
Exactly. So UV clothing. So having rash guards that are UV protective clothing. So yeah, I'm the person at the beach that has the long sleeve shirts on. I'll have the wrap or the cover up. I'm very mindful of how much time I spend in the sun when I go out, what part of the day, just really being careful of that, using my sunscreen, making sure, if I am out in the shade. So like mitigating things that are triggers. Certain foods, if certain foods are going to trigger it, for everybody it's different. So avoiding those kind of triggers. Stress, huge. So trying to make sure you're mitigating it. So a lot of it is learning a lifestyle, but then also having the proper medication to help your body fight that is fighting itself, basically. And when you do have flares, trying to control the inflammation in your body. So I really thought it was interesting. I got to find it in my notes here that there's no cure for lupus. But the treatment plan, you want to help control your symptoms, such as the joint pain, swelling, and constantly feeling tired, keeping your immune system as healthy as you can to stop it from attacking your body as much as possible, and protecting your organs from major damage. So kidneys often are affected. That's something for me that the doctors are always watching, and my eyes. There's a potential for some eye damage. So, but yeah, everyone is different. So it's a journey.
Yeah, so somebody who maybe wants to go to that website and see, they might be able to, if they're suspecting that maybe they might have something like this, it might be a good place to start.
Absolutely. And have those open conversations with your doctor. And you know your body best. We've talked about this before in our doctor's episodes and our dysfunctional healthcare episodes, that you are your best advocate. You know when something is not right. And sometimes it just takes finding the doctor that listens to you. And that was one of the things at Cleveland Clinic that I absolutely loved, is they actually listen to me, listen to my symptoms, listen to my journey. And I was actually just telling Chrissy before this episode that I started seeing a functional wellness doctor, and it was so great. My first visit there, I can't wait to talk about it in a future episode, because they listened. They sat and they listened to the whole history, the whole story, not just, oh, you're tired. Okay. It was nice to have some validation. So, but the other thing about, learning more about lupus is just raising that awareness. So, going to the website, learning about it. May is Lupus Awareness Month, so there might be very well a fundraiser or a lupus awareness event in the area near you. You can look that all up on their website. Wearing purple. So this is as close to I had of purple for today, but I'm going to need to get a purple lupus shirt or something. But purple is the color for lupus, and the butterfly is a symbol for lupus because of rosacea, the butterfly rash. That's one of another common symptom that happens. So like if I get really upset, or if I'm having flare, depending if I eat the wrong things, if I'm in the sun too much, I get this very intense butterfly rash that's called rosacea. And so the butterfly is the symbol for lupus because of that butterfly rash. So sport your butterflies and your purple for the month of May for lupus awareness.
There you go.
There we go. All right, junkies. Well, thanks for tuning in today. We look forward to coming at you all the rest of the month. So make sure to tune in.
Hi, everybody.